Hi everyone, my name's Humphreys, and I'm doing my project on Childish Gambino. Okay, so first I'm going to go over some history. Donald McKinley Glover was born on September 25th, 1983 at Edwards Air Force Base in California. He then moved to Stone Mountain, Georgia shortly after. In high school, he was really into musical theater, and when he went to college in New York to NYU, he was a part of a sketch comedy group called Derek Comedy. Derek Comedy also had a YouTube channel with over 200,000 subscribers, and they had a total of 1 million views as of 2019. Tina Fey actually happened to see his work on Derek Comedy and offered him a job to write for 30 Rock in 2006. Glover wrote for 30 Rock for about 3 years, and he lived in New York while doing this. But then he moved to LA to work on a show called Community, in which he actually had a role. You can see him there in the picture to the right. He played a character named Troy Barnes, who was a high school football player. And he worked on the show from 2009 to 2014. While he was working on Community, he released several mixtapes, but he didn't actually release a complete studio album until 2011 when he was signed with Glassnote Records under the name Childish Gambino. He actually got the name from a Wu-Tang Clan name generator, and he kind of stuck with it. It's kind of his alter ego for all of his musical work. But the album that was released was called Camp, and it got mixed reviews because it was somewhat vulgar and the delivery was aggressive. It was just something that people either loved or hated. During this time, Glover also started doing stand up comedy and DJing under another musical alter ego, Mick DJ. Mick DJ obviously did not become as popular as Childish Gambino, but it's still interesting that he had two kind of alter egos. And then he released his next full length studio album, Because the Internet, in 2013. And you can see the album artwork over on the right side. It's the one with his face on it. And as a result of that, he won a gold record and he was nominated for Best Rap Album at the 2015 Grammys. In 2014, Glover left Community to focus more on his music and released his next album, Stone Mountain slash Kawaii. And this album was very pop heavy and sounded a lot different from his other work. If you remember where he moved as a kid, he moved to Stone Mountain, and then he had this like self-reflection trip to Kauai, and he made an album out of that. And then in 2016, Glover went to produce and star in his Golden Globe winning show, Atlanta. And Stone Mountain's only about, I want to say, like 20 minutes from Atlanta. So it's very relatable to his where he grew up and his childhood. And it's like a dark comedy based around a rapper, Paperboy, who's trying to become famous. And it's an interesting show. You guys should watch it. And then in 2017, he released his next album, Awaken My Love, which was inspired by 70s psychedelic rock and funk. And Glover received a Grammy for his track Redbone. Okay, so after all of that, he went back to acting for a little bit, and he was in both Spider-Man Homecoming and Solo, a Star Wars story. In 2018, he released his single This Is America, which won him 4 Grammys, including Song of the Year, Record of the Year, Best Music Video, and Best Rap Sung Performance. And if I remember correctly, within a week of it being released last year, there were like 50 million views on YouTube, which is crazy. And then this summer, he released a short film to Amazon Prime called Guava Island, which he and Rihanna co star, and much of his newer music is featured. I watched this, it was like 40 minutes, and it was just, it had Feels Like Summer and like some of his new singles in there. Lots of like island inspired music. But yeah, it was cute. I would recommend it. Um, and then this year, he starred as Simba in Disney's remake of The Lion King, and he did all the vocals next to Beyonce. Glover has a lot of influences because his music style ranges from a ton of different genres. And Glover was heavily influenced by Kanye's 808s and Heartbreak, as well as Lil Wayne's The Carter the Third. This, I would say, is based more on his earlier stuff, just because he's evolved so much. He's also pulled inspiration from a lot of 70s funk music from his latest album, Awaken My Love. He has said in interviews that he remembered listening to a lot of Funkadelic as well as the Isley Brothers as a child, and they have shaped him as an artist. Funkadelic and Bootsy Collins were big inspirations for him on Awaken My Love, and Bootsy Collins was coincidentally in Funkadelic, so yeah. And then some other influences include Outkast, Sly and the Family Stone, Bootsy Collins, Jay-Z, Beck, Wu-Tang Clan, and Eminem. Okay, so the song that I've chosen for my project is Redbone from Awaken My Love, released in 2016. I can't actually play this for you right now. It just doesn't work. So I'll include the link in my post, so make sure to click on that and listen to both songs. The second song I chose to compare it with is Bootsy Collins' I'd Rather Be With You from Stretchin' Out and Bootsy's Rubber Band, released in 1976. Same thing, I'll include the link. Listen to them both, they're both good. Okay, so I'm going to start with Redbone. The song starts with a slow and steady pace that eventually builds to Gambino singing the lyrics Daylight, I wake up feeling like you won't play right, followed by I used to know, but now that shit don't feel right. To me, this says that he used to know that she was the one, she being his probably wife or significant other or someone he's talking about. But now he has a different mindset, and this relationship doesn't feel the same way it used to. I think this has something to do with her being unfaithful or thinking about being unfaithful because of the repeating stay woke is to all of the other guys looking to take her or to see if she leaves for someone else. I also think that this song has a double meaning because stay woke is like a popular saying in today's age. It just like stay aware of the world around you. It would not surprise me if this track was like doubled as a political message, given that he released This Is America and Feels Like Summer, which are both very political songs. So for the instruments used, I actually found a full list online. It has acoustic drums, piano, synthesizer, a mellotron, a clavinet, bass guitar, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, and my favorite, the glockenspiel. Um, Yeah, so when the song first begins, there's a build up to the song, like I mentioned earlier, and then throughout the midsection, it becomes faster paced, but it's not overly fast paced. It remains at kind of like a steady, funky soul and smooth And then at the end, there's almost a 2 minute section of the song where it just winds down and there aren't any vocals. And he just kind of lets the song die down, which I think is pretty interesting because you don't hear that a lot. And now moving on to I'd Rather Be With You. The song's about how he wants to be with his significant other, but he has messed up a lot of times. And it's pretty simple, but Beyonce has actually sampled from this song as well as Childish Gambino. But Beyonce's song Be With You is based on it. I unfortunately don't have the exact instrumentals that he used, but you can tell, like, just by the way that he sampled and the way that he made the song, it was definitely an inspiration. There are lots of similarities in just the instrumentation alone. There's also a similar build up at the beginning of I'd Rather Be With You. And the structure of the song is pretty similar. He also alters his voice, alters in like he has a wide range and he switches it up often on this track, and so does Gambino on Redbone. But they're different in that Gambino uses, he like pitches it up a little bit on Redbone, and I'd Rather Be With You does not have that. But also, Glockenspiel is in I'd Rather Be With You, which I think is a pretty significant similarity. But yeah, overall they sound really similar, and the photo in the background I found online, which other people apparently think the song sounds similar too because they made that image. So yeah, both are really good songs in different ways, but also very similar. So some of the artists that are influenced by Childish Gambino are Logic, and Logic's a pretty new rapper. He has that kind of like jokey, I don't know, like gimmicky kind of rapping. I don't listen to Logic, so I don't know 100%, but he said in an interview that he really admires how Childish Gambino calls himself an entertainer, not a rapper, so he doesn't limit himself, so he has taken inspiration from that. And then another person that takes inspiration from Gambino, and also Gambino takes inspiration from him, I'm sure of, is Chance the Rapper. They're longtime friends, and they actually have 6 songs together. And they have spoken about releasing an album, a collaborative album together, which would be pretty cool. So what is he up to now? There's been talk of him not releasing any more music under the name Childish Gambino, but it has not been confirmed. Hopefully it's not true, but I don't know. It seems to me that he's focusing more on acting right now. He's only released This Is America and Feels Like Summer and Summertime Magic as of last year, but they weren't related to any sort of future album that's coming out. Atlanta is on season 2 right now, and they're working on season 3. There's also been talk of a possible Star Wars spin-off movie featuring Glover as Lando. And then there is also that possible Childish Gambino and Chance the Rapper album. But overall, Glover's a unique entertainer, and he's mastered music, acting, comedy, and production. He does not have a specific sound, and he's not tied to a certain genre. He's constantly evolving, and although he's only been around for a decade, I think he's going to be very influential on the next generation or generations to come of musicians and or entertainers. Okay, that's it. Thank you all for watching my presentation.